Okay, so you know how we always talk about how clever and innovative we are today?
Yeah.
Well, get this. Ancient civilizations were way more advanced than we often give them credit for.
Hmm, that's true.
And today, we're going to do a deep dive into some seriously impressive stuff they accomplished.
Sounds fascinating.
We'll be looking at engineering, medicine, even astronomy in the ancient world.
So, what can we learn from these ancient innovations?
Exactly. And you'll be amazed at how much their ingenuity still resonates today.
Okay, I'm ready to have my assumptions challenged.
Perfect. Let's start with something pretty basic, but crucial. Roads.
Roads.
Yep, the Romans built this absolutely mind-boggling road network.
How big are we talking?
Over 250,000 miles.
Wow, that's massive.
These weren't just like dirt paths either.
So, actual engineered roads.
Oh yeah, seriously well-constructed highways that connected their entire empire.
I see. So it wasn't just about getting around.
No way, think about it. Trade, military movement, even spreading ideas and culture?
So these roads were like the backbone of their civilization.
Exactly. They paved the way, literally, for how empires functioned for centuries.
And isn't it crazy that some of those Roman roads are still in use today?
It's wild. You're driving on a modern highway, and part of it might be built on Roman foundations.
That's pretty impressive.
It makes you wonder about the long-term impact of our own infrastructure projects, right?
Absolutely. What will last? What are the truly fundamental principles that stand the test of time?
Okay, sticking with the Romans, let's talk about aqueducts.
Those massive stone structures that carried water.
You got it. Imagine these channels stretching for miles across the landscape.
Yeah, it's hard to grasp the scale of those projects.
Seriously. And it wasn't just about moving water. They had a deep understanding of gravity and flow.
So they weren't just simple ditches.
Nope, they were precisely engineered systems that brought fresh water to cities.
Wow, that must have been revolutionary.
Oh, totally. Public baths, fountains, clean water in homes. It was a game changer.
I can see how that would impact public health and sanitation.
It laid the groundwork for the plumbing systems we rely on today.
It's funny how we take all that for granted.
Right, we just turned on the tap, but behind it is this legacy of ancient innovation.
It really highlights how interconnected these advancements were.
Exactly. Clean water led to better health, which in turn allowed for more development.
Okay, now let's move on to something a bit more mysterious. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Ah, one of the seven wonders of the ancient world.
A legendary oasis in the desert.
But it wasn't just beautiful, it was a feat of engineering.
I can imagine. Creating a lush garden in a dry climate like that.
Think about it. They had to figure out irrigation, how to lift water, distribute it.
The method had some early form of hydraulic engineering.
Exactly. And get this. Some scholars believe it might have been the world's first vertical garden.
Whoa! Like what we're trying to do in cities today.
It's mind-blowing. It challenges our notions of what's considered modern.
Right. The same challenges, just different solutions.
Okay, now let's switch gears and talk about medicine.
Medicine in ancient times. I always assumed that was pretty basic.
Actually, that's a misconception. Ancient civilizations had some surprisingly advanced medical knowledge.
Really? Like what?
Take the Egyptians, for example. They had detailed medical texts, performed surgeries, even stitched wounds.
Wow, that's way more advanced than I thought.
And get this, they even had dental remedies.
Ancient dentistry. That's fascinating.
And their use of medicinal herbs really laid the foundation for modern pharmacology.
So they were essentially experimenting with plants to find what worked.
Exactly. And many of those plant-based remedies are still used today.
That makes you wonder about all the knowledge that's been lost over time.
And speaking of lasting legacies, we have to talk about the Hippocratic Oath.
That's the ethical code that doctors still swear by today.
You got it. It originated in ancient Greece and outlines principles like doing no harm and respecting patients.
It's amazing that those principles have endured for so long.
It shows a deep understanding of the doctor-patient relationship.
That trust is essential for effective healthcare.
And now let's journey to the Americas and explore Mayan medicine.
Mayan medicine.
Their expertise in herbal remedies was considered unparalleled.
So they had a deep knowledge of medicinal plants.
They had a vast pharmacopoeia with specific treatments for all sorts of ailments.
And wasn't their approach considered holistic?
You're right. They combined spiritual and physical treatments.
Like alternative medicine today.
Exactly. It shows a recognition of the mind-body connection.
Fascinating how these ancient ideas are resurfacing.
Okay, so we've seen incredible engineering and medicine.
What's next?
Now let's turn our attention to the stars and talk about ancient astronomy.
They didn't have telescopes or anything, right?
Nope. Just the naked eye and a lot of patience.
So how much could they really figure out?
You'd be surprised. Take the Egyptians, for example.
Okay.
Their calendar was based on their observations of the star Sirius.
Serious.
It's a bright star, and its appearance in the sky coincided with the flooding of the Nile.
Wow, so for them, astronomy was vital for agriculture and survival.
Exactly. It wasn't just an abstract science.
It makes you realize how connected they were to the natural world.
And then you have the Mayans, their incredibly complex and accurate calendar.
I've heard about that.
It was aligned with the movements of celestial bodies with astonishing precision.
How did they achieve that without modern technology?
It's mind-boggling. They meticulously tracked the movements of Venus and the moon.
They must have been incredible observers.
And it shows that you don't necessarily need fancy tools to gain profound knowledge.
Sometimes simplicity and dedication can yield amazing results.
And finally, we have Stonehenge, that iconic prehistoric monument.
Is it a giant sundial? A ritual site? An observatory?
The debate continues, but whatever its primary purpose, it clearly demonstrates a grasp of astronomy.
The arrangement of those massive stones suggests a deliberate alignment with celestial events.
Like the solstices and equinoxes.
Exactly. They were essentially mapping the heavens with giant rocks.
Thousands of years before telescopes. It's awe-inspiring.
It really challenges our assumptions about what ancient civilizations were capable of.
So to wrap things up, these ancient innovations weren't just primitive attempts.
They were sophisticated solutions that laid the groundwork for our modern world.
From roads and plumbing to medicine and astronomy, their legacies are all around us.
It's a reminder that human ingenuity has deep roots.
And now it's your turn, dear listener.
Yes, your thoughts and questions are what fuel this exploration.
If you have theories, questions, or topics you'd like us to dive into, let us know.
We encourage you to engage with history and share your discoveries.
Because sometimes the greatest legends are the ones hiding in plain sight.
Keep looking, keep questioning, keep exploring.
Until our next deep dive, keep that spark of curiosity burning bright.
Absolutely.
And thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through time.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, until next time, stay curious out there.
See you then.